Hi everyone, and welcome to this series of videos where I present my guitar arrangement of the song When I'm Gone by Randy Newman. What you're watching here is just a short video that contains some background information on what got me started and a description of some of the resources I used to create the arrangement. And what I describe here in this video is not critical to learning how to play the arrangement, but I do refer to some of this stuff in the lesson, and there's some information here that you might find interesting and possibly useful. I was introduced to this song when I was watching the final episodes of the TV series Monk, and as many of you know, this Randy Newman song was played in the closing scenes of that final episode. So this is what got me started down the path of trying to figure out how to play this song. Now, I also happened to come across a video of an excellent guitar arrangement and cover of this song by Mark Starr. He's a better guitarist and better singer than I am, and I saw some things in his arrangement that gave me some ideas of what would be possible in something that I might want to try. And there's another cover of the song by David Whitehead, which is sung with a piano accompaniment. And there are some only slight deviations from the original Randy Newman version. For example, the David Whitehead cover is played and sung in the key of E flat instead of the key of D. And there are some other small differences, but regardless of those few changes, his version of the song is very well done. In fact, I included one of David Whitehead's changes in my own arrangement as an alternate way to play one of the measures. And finally, and somewhat unrelated to this particular song and lesson, I included a link to a YouTube channel of someone named Carl R. DiStefano. And Carl plays these quiet, wonderful, and elegant jazz tunes and songs from the 1920s through the 1950s. And his music is simple and unpretentious, and an example of what can be accomplished with just one guy and one guitar. So when I think about someone who might be playing this particular song, it kind of fits into that same format that Carl DiStefano uses as well. And when it came down to actually working on the arrangement, I didn't want to just wing it, so I started looking for sources of information to kind of help me along. And of course, the first thing I found was the song by Randy Newman in the final episode of the Monk series, and I've already spoken about that. But there was also another separate video that I found by Randy Newman of the same song that's played and sung almost identically to the Monk video. The difference with this second video that I found is that in the original Monk video, there's a verse near the end of the song that's sung twice. And in this second video I found, that verse is only sung once. And it doesn't make a big difference, but that's the one I chose to use as one of my main sources of information. The next thing I found after doing a search for the piano score were a couple of websites. One is called Band2Piano, and the other is called musescore.com. And there's a musescore.org, but musescore.com and Band2Piano had the piano score that I was looking for. So I was able to download a copy of the piano score from Band2Piano, and I was going to include a link for you to download the music, but I don't want to get into any kind of copyright trouble, so I'll just point you to the websites and you can go there and download it yourself. And another tool that I found that was very helpful was a website called scales-chords.com. And it's got a lot of tools in it that were very helpful in identifying some of the weird note and chord combinations that I came across in the song. Now, one thing I want to mention is that I'll provide links to as many of these things as I can in the description below, and I want everyone to know that I'm in no way receiving any type of compensation from any of the people or organizations that I mention in this video. So that covers that little bit of background information, and I hope you found it at least somewhat interesting, and hopefully it will be useful since I do refer to some of this information in the actual lesson. The links for part 1 and part 2 of the lesson are in the description below, and I hope to see you there.